Welcome to Nkosi Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Find your own voice. Lead from within. Welcome to Nkosi Talk Shows. Over to you, Carolyn. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you. And good afternoon from London in the UK. And as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support soul-driven entrepreneurs in becoming more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So I'm Carolyn, the writing facilitator, helping you to unlock the writer within.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Amanda. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
It's good morning from Canada. I'm happy to be here. My name is Amanda Cottrell, and I'm the founder of Art, Mindfulness, and Creativity. I'm also a teacher and author and illustrator, and my focus is helping people find their own unique creative capacities within themselves.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So our topic today is how to break away from the screen. Your children, are they addicted to screens, mobile phone, tablet, everything, social media apps? They are there. I know some of the children that I know, they joined Facebook when they were like maybe 10 or 12 with the fake accounts, but my children, they're not on Facebook, unfortunately, because I'm an annoying mom. I just check everything. So that's what we will be talking about it today. The addictions, online addictions, is we have to be clear. It's not just the children that are addicted to actually social media. It's parents as well. They crave for social media. They crave, addicted to mobile phone, addicted to TV. So the question is, how much screen do you allow yourself to actually use per day, or how much screen do you allow your children to use? Because you have to understand, as a parent, your children will model whatever you do in the house. If you say to children, go read books, but you're busy, okay, children, go read books, and you're busy on social media, they're gonna get confused. So if you say, okay, children, go and read books, and you find yourself something similar, and basically you're motivating them and they find something, but then that means they'll stay away from the screen. But is it easy to actually stay away from the screen? So that is the question that we'll be talking about. It sounds very easy when I am saying you can get them off, but I don't think it's as easy as it sounds. So over to you, Carolyn. I know you chose this topic, and I'm gonna say this. I'm in my brother's house, he basically has a 100-inch TV or 75-inch TV. When I walked in, I was like, what now? Do you actually expect this child to study? But his child is going, he's on a study room as well. So he goes away and study in the bedroom, which is my daughter. She's here, but she's not used to this screen. She's been on the screen basically since morning because the TV is too big to ignore.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it? The screen gets too big to ignore. It's
Yeah.
become huge. Yeah, and actually this topic, how do you deal with screen addiction? I saw it as I was sort of scrolling through, looking for just ideas and things, and it just jumped out at me, you know, screen addiction. And I just thought, and it's not just children, because I was actually thinking of adults when I thought of it as well, because how many adults are attempting to run a business and all they do is you know, constantly on the phone, scrolling through social media, put it down, pick it up, you know, and I became aware of, it's what I do. It's like there is an addiction. And what is this addiction? And I thought, I think this is something I need to look into, because it's almost like I can't not pick it up, you know, even though I got this compulsion to pick it up and think, no, it's like, I have to. So there's certainly, it's got a pull on you. So I thought it'd be a great topic to explore. But yeah, I think it is children and adults alike. And I maybe because even more so now, it was noticeable before we went into lockdown, but maybe it's become even more so during lockdown, because not only do we have that pull of our, you know, mobile phone and social media, but we're on our laptops so much as well. And so again, it's that the screen has become, you know, are we addicted to being on this, you know, looking at the screen all the time? And just see what, I'm intrigued as to actually what it does do to us, and how can we maybe break that addiction or heal from it, you know, move away from it and shift. So yeah, that's where the topic came from for me.
So I always look at this topic from a different perspective, because I have a master's in education technology. And so I look at this topic from not how much time are you spending in front of the screen, but what is it that you're doing in front of the screen? And that becomes a really more engaging topic, because so many people are, like you said, addicted to social media. And for children, I always look at it as like, we have this tool that is so powerful, so much more powerful than anything we've ever had in the history of human existence, at our fingertips. And are we using it to just mindlessly scroll through social media, or are we using it to be content creators? So are we being passive consumers of technology, or are we being creative creators of it? And so that's where the question really comes into play, because if you're using technology to be super creative, or by doing talk shows, if you're using it to build your business brand, if you're using it to learn how to do something, it can be a really amazing tool. But if you're spending hours and hours and hours playing Roblox, or playing on, as for adults, scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through Facebook, that's where it becomes a problem, because you're like wasting time, right? You're wasting time, mindlessly addicted to this, to your phone. We're just scrolling mindlessly. And so the question that I have for people is not how much time are you spending in front of your phone or iPad or computer, is what is it that you're doing on it, and are you being productive on it? And there definitely is time to just set aside and veg out and scroll through Instagram or scroll through Facebook. But what I question for people is to be conscious of how much time they're actually spending doing that, because that really changes the dynamics of the screen time question.
Yeah, I totally get that, and it is what it is you're using it for, and it's recognizing when it has become that addiction to it, you know, that, and what it is, as you say, notice what it is you're using it for. And if it is that screen, the scrolling, it's that pull to just look at it. And but even just going through your emails, you know, constantly checking them, what, why? You know, it's not any different than it was 5 minutes ago. You know, or just scrolling through notifications, messages on Facebook and posts, and very often then nothing really changes. Or just maybe just sitting watching TV because, you know, just some movies or films or something that's mindless, that's not really educational. And the thing is, what's happening is that you're in that pleasure reward cycle because dopamine gets released. It's because the blue screen, isn't it? It's the blue. It's the blueness of the screen that it releases dopamine, and dopamine is that reward cycle, pleasure reward cycle. So you need to get aware of that's what you're doing, because actually I've been aware of me doing this for ages, and sometimes I can sort of step back from it, but other times I'm really in it, and it's like it's got a real hook. And it's recognizing that and going, well, what is the reward that you're getting? You know, for what reason do you want this reward? What is it that maybe you can't face doing, that this is giving you some pleasure in doing a reward? And maybe it's then looking at what is it that you're putting off doing and that really needs to be done, and address that, because how can that activity become a pleasurable activity that gives you a reward similar to what you're getting from this addiction by, you know, scrolling on social media or constantly watching the TV? And I think that's an inquiry to look at and sit in and be willing to look at it in the face, because, you know, it does have a hook on you. It does have a hold in you. This, oh, got to pick this up. But it's not actually doing you any good. And really, it's recognizing the detriment that is happening. You know, that you get this pleasure reward cycle, but there's a reward, but underneath it all, ultimately, the reward is unhealthy. It's causing, you know, it's got some long-term effects to it. You know, there's stress, there's anxiety, depression, even just weight gain, putting on weight, but your body not being fit or healthy, you know. So it's, yeah, look at it. What is it that you're using the screen for? And how can you move? How can you shift? How can you detoxify? You know, when you've recognized it, because it's not easy. So, you know, what are your thoughts, Nomsa, on?
Actually, I like it when you say be willing to look at it and face it, because I basically, when I started my business, I started getting addicted to the phone, because I share everything on social media, and but then because I was willing to face it, because you have to, whatever you preach to your clients, whatever you preach on like here or on the talk show, you have to practice it yourself. So what I did was I had to face it. I had to ask myself, what exactly do I need? Why do I go on social media? And I realized that I go on social media to talk to my family, sometimes to talk to my friends, and to post about my business, basically to get my business there. So I have a policy where I go on social media, I post what I have to post, I like friends' post because they support me, and I'm out. Once I like it for the day, I have a half an hour on social media every single day, and then I'm out. And on WhatsApp, when I get up in the morning, I can't go to my phone because it can be an addiction. The phone, it can take your time. So if I'm gonna get up at 4 a.m., I have to, my phone is always next to me for the alarm. I get up and I go on WhatsApp because it's the coronavirus, there might be some bad news. I scroll down like this. I check who sent me a message. I check the heading of the messages. I don't open them. And I scroll down, They are okay. I put the phone away from me. And then I start working. I don't want the phone. I have no relationship with the phone, but it's something that I had to train myself that I don't need the phone. The phone, I only need it when customers are calling me. When clients call me, that's when I need the phone. But in the morning, I know that from 4 a.m. or 5:30 or 5 a.m. up to 9 a.m., the phone calls will start ringing at about 9. So before that, I don't need the phone. I not only need the phone to wake my children up going to school. I only need the phone if I'm praying, if there is something that I need to listen to, or there is a preacher that I like and I want to listen to that preacher, and I only go to the phone when I'm meditating with the music. That's when I only need the phone. With my children, I don't tell them don't use the phone, because when you tell somebody don't use it, they want to use it. If you tell them don't switch off the TV, don't watch too much TV, they want to watch it. So what I do is I have a 6-year-old and a 14-year-old. I buy lots of paper for art and drawing and painting and pencil. I put them on top of the table. So it's always there during the day. And the TV, I tell them, listen, watch the TV. And when you feel that you've watched enough TV, switch it off and go and do something. So you'll find that the TV is playing, but no one is there, is watching it. And then I end up switching it off and they're busy doing their thing. And if I say, don't watch TV, guess what happens? We end up arguing for no reason. But if I leave them alone, and this is psychology. It's like if you say to a child, don't do this, or to an adult, you give them advice, don't do this. What are they going to do? They're going to want to go against you just to stick it up your face. They're going to want to do it. Like, I'm going to do it. So I just say, even to my children, I say, listen, if you want to go out, we jumped out of the window. We've done it before. So if you feel that there is a place where you need to go, you don't need to lie, just negotiate. So it's nice to be upfront with anyone, and with an adult as well. You'd be surprised at how many mobile phone that destroys a relationship. Over to you, Carol, Anu, Amanda, one of you.
I just quickly want to say about the don't do anything. It's well known that the universe doesn't actually hear the don't do. It only hears the action.
Yeah.
So if you say don't do this, it only hears do this. So actually, it's a great ploy. If you actually want someone to do something, you say don't do this, because you know they're going to do it. Yeah. But certainly, you've got to be careful about what you're saying, because it is, but it's only hearing the action. So yes, Amanda, you've got something.
What I do with my daughter is her phone has a 1 hour limit on it. And so she can play her games or whatever for 1 hour, and then all of the apps shut off except for like the ability to take photos and the ability to phone, like her dad or myself. And so I think that that's like one way to limit it for children. Oh my goodness. My throat is a little dry this morning. But even when I look at it in the classroom too, I look at it from the perspective of what is it I'm getting the kids to do when we are using technology? Are we using it to be creative? Are we using it to produce something? Or are we just consuming And I think there's definitely a time to be a consumer of technology, but I think that it's this huge we have this huge ability to learn from so much on the internet as well. And so when I was doing my master's degree, we looked at this TED talk, and in the TED talk they talked about this tiny place somewhere in Africa where they turned this garbage dump into a garden because they used the one cell phone that was in the village to use to learn how to turn this garbage dump into sustainable community garden. And we have this power that we've never had before to learn in a way that we've never been able to learn before either. So if you want to, for example, because I self-publish books on Amazon, if you want to learn how to self-publish on Amazon, you can go to the internet and you can find out how to self-publish on Amazon with a few clicks of a button. If you want to learn how to draw, if you want to learn how to change the light bulb in your vehicle, you can just watch a YouTube video and learn how to do it. It is unbelievable. If you want to learn how to fix your dryer, you can even search like your dryer brand and look it up, and they will give you suggestions on what it is and how to fix it. We have this tool for learning that so many people just, what I find in society is we're just not using the tool for our learning. We're using it to just zone out and numb ourselves. And I think that that's the problem. But there's also been an increase in children's anxiety and depression since the invention of iPhones. And lots of it is because the parents are addicted and they're not paying attention to their children, and they're off focusing on their social media or whatever it is. And so what I think we need to do is be a lot more conscious of what we're using technology for, like Namza was saying, where how much are you on it and what is it that you're using it for? Because for my daughter too, she gets 1 hour on her games, but then if she wants to use it to learn how to draw, or if she wants to use it to learn or produce something, or if she maybe has a friend over and they want to make an iMovie, then I give her more time on it. But if she just wants to play Roblox, like hour max, right? Because when you're using it to be creative, that's why I also have the photos app always open on hers, because you can change the times of the specific apps and which ones are allowed all the time. And like if she wants to take photos of things or be creative with her photography, by all means, I want her to be able to have that tool, because we wouldn't take a camera away from children if all it was a camera, right? We'd want them to be taking, well, maybe if it was back in the film days, you'd be like, no, don't waste all the film. But we want them to be creative with cameras, right? We want them to be taking pictures and exploring and looking at the world from a different perspective. And so I really think that even as adults, like Nomza was saying, if you want kids to read books, you have to be reading a book. So like before I go to bed every single night, I'm reading my book. Sorry, my allergies are really bad this morning. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go take an antihistamine.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Go make yourself more comfortable.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is bless you. And it is about using technology, because it is the most incredible tool that we have these days. You can get the information that you need really quickly. And I know my granddaughter that's set up her cake business, she uses the videos to see what other people have done and to explore, and to also to learn how to do piping, how to do certain things. And the other week she was making a cake, and she needed to put some rods in it because it was quite a big cake, but also it had an indented part to it, and she made it, she iced it, but it just wasn't right. It wasn't how the picture that she'd seen. So she then again researched again and realized she'd done it wrong. She had to make them 2 larger cakes, sponges, and then 2 smaller ones, and the 2 smaller ones fitted in the middle. So that's where you got the sort of the indent. So because you had to start all over again, which was a bit of a challenge, because obviously it cost us some money, but she learned from that. But actually being able to watch videos as to how to do it, and she learned, what she'd done wrong. But also this ability to get in touch with someone, because she didn't have the rods, the shops were shut, but my daughter was able to get in touch with somebody else who does cakes. Says, do you got any of these rods that we can put in a cake? Yes, she said. And she's just, not far from us, so we're able to get some cakes, so you've got that speed of communication. So there are benefits, huge benefits these days, and it is, as you say, Amanda, it's recognizing the benefits and how can you make the best use of it. And actually the cake turned out absolutely stunning in the end, and the lady that it was for was absolutely delighted, so but absolutely a great learning opportunity there for her. And it actually shows that through adversity you can then grow, and the internet is an amazing place to support you. But going back to sort of also using it for something positive, watching the TV. I mean, when last year, for a huge amount of the time, my grandson was watching the the worldwide fighters, in these cages, throwing each other around, and
WWE, WWE.
That's it. Yes,
I used to be addicted to that wrestling.
And I loved watching it with him. We would sit there watching, and oh my God, they're really doing this. But he also watched a program about dancing, and would watch all the sort of different styles of dancing, but one particular program, and he watched all the series over and over again. And what he was then doing was creating his own dances. He was then on the trampoline practicing backflips and forward flips and swinging himself around, so like they were, with the fighters, and they sort of rolling and everything. So he was using that in a very active way. And he was then created some absolutely amazing dances to music through that. So, and but he did spend a lot of time watching at the time, but he's now moved past that phase, but at the time it was quite a huge chunk of time that he'd spend. But watching him learn from it and keep persisting in doing the moves, putting the dances together, being on the trampoline and attempting to fling, do the forward roll, do the backward flip. And it took quite a while till he got the hang of it, but eventually he got it, and then he was sort of flinging himself around in other ways, but then he was putting it on the floor and doing the same sort of flips, and attempting to do it on the floor. So getting that feel of it. So there's a lot of positive things that we can do from it. So yeah. So was there anything else you wanted to add, Amanda? Because you got interrupted with your hay fever. Are you feeling a bit more comfortable now?
Yeah. When I look at all the things that you can learn with technology, it's unbelievable, and there's so many ways that we can learn and be creative. And I even think the same with TV too. Like, if you're watching TV for hours and hours and hours, like that can become an addiction. And when I was a child, that was the screen issue, was how much TV are people watching. And I definitely think there's times where I'm exhausted and I just want to veg out and watch TV, and that's okay. But also, like, you can use the television to learn as well. Like, there's so many amazing documentaries out there that are unbelievable, and you can learn so much about the world from the documentaries that are on Netflix I don't know if you guys have Netflix in Europe, but or like Amazon Prime or there's so many different amazing documentaries that you can learn from. And I think that with our screen issue, it's not necessarily for me the biggest question is, what are you using the screen for, and how much how much time are you spending being a creator versus being a passive consumer. And that's the piece that I really focus on in my household, is how much time are we using to create versus how much time are we being passive consumers of it. What about you, Nomza? What about in your house?
My house, there's not a lot. There's only computers for my computers for work, because I have computers in my office, and then I have to have computers at home if I'm working from home, because in the morning I go out, like if I'm coming like now, if I'm broadcasting like 12 o'clock, I have to come home and work from home, which is 5 minutes away from my daughter's school. So that means I can go to and pick my daughter. So I basically limit the gadgets that my children can have. Mostly I buy toys, I buy things that are creative, and I speak to the family as well. The family are normally good, like they ask what children want for their birthdays, for Christmas. So it's more like things they help out. Basically, the family, they understand that gadgets are not good for children. So they understand if it's Christmas or birthdays, they buy instruments for children. Like what they do is music, acting. So they will do things based on what they are doing. And I just have to battle with the TV. The only battle that I have is the TV and my oldest daughter with her mobile phone. But I try not to, I don't say don't do it. I ask her to control herself. So sometimes in the night, like if I call her upstairs, she'll say, "Mommy, I can't answer the phone." Because she loves living upstairs now in her room. She's in that age where she stays by, she comes downstairs when she wants to eat, or when she feels like she wants to cook, or when she wants to talk a little bit, and then she'll come and annoy her sister and go upstairs. So I have to make sure that I talk to her to say, listen, you need to make sure how much screen you use yourself and try to control that. So it makes her feel like she's responsible and she's older. And if I call her, she'll say, I can't answer the phone because you asked me to control my screen. So this is my off screen time. So which is fine. It works for her, but sometimes it doesn't work. So you just have to keep reminding them. I have to keep reminding them, control your screen. It is their life, because in my house, everybody has to arrange things that they do. The play dates, they arrange their play dates. I get told what is happening. And the parents, if they arrange play dates with their friend, I expect the parents to get in touch with me and say, yes, the children are allowed. I don't arrange no play dates for my children. So these are the rules that I'm teaching them to be independent, because life has no guarantees. Like we say at Ngosi talk shows, they are no guarantees. So they need to learn this. I always talk about how social media destroys lives. People are addicted, mostly adults, we are addicted to social media. So how do we do that? Is something that it has to be a choice. Kamal talks about everything you do in life, it is a choice. So it has to be a choice, you acknowledging the mistakes that you are doing, because it's like when somebody, your husband or your wife, or your partner, they finish work, and you're on social media. Hi, honey. Oh, I'm just saying, looking at my friend. It looks like my friend has been on holiday, or my friend, she bought a new dress. So I'm just looking. And what do you think your husband is gonna feel, or your spouse they're gonna feel? Just basically just put everything away. When I finish work, I unplug everything, the computers, everything. I only go to the computer like Amanda if we were discussing something, and then I had to, if I need to double check or do some research what we are talking about. Sometimes we argue about things. So if I want to prove that I'm telling the truth or whatever I'm saying is relevant, I have to go on the computer and say to my family, look, guys, and they're like, oh, wow. So that's how basically we use. But is it easy to actually control a screen addiction? It's not easy. Sometimes you might have to go for counseling. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you might have to go for counseling.
I
don't
think the
that's-
important thing,
oh,
sorry,
Go ahead.
I think the important thing to recognize it is an addiction. You know, we think of addictions as being drugs or drink or, you know, smoking, but actually this is an addiction. Just like chocolate, I realize it is an addiction. And I think it's recognizing that you are addicted to the screen in some way, and maybe start monitoring it and making a note of what you're doing so you can actually become aware and, and acknowledge that, and then start taking steps towards dealing with it. But the first, I think it's like with any addiction, is actually owning up to it and actually saying, I am addicted to this, because only then can you actually start doing something about it. And yet it's not easy. It's not easy.
What I was gonna say adds on to exactly what you were saying. There are ways for you to limit your own phone. So you can go on and you can set limits for each app. You can even set limits for your whole phone. So I could set a limit for my phone that says like I can only be on Instagram for 30 minutes. I can only be on Facebook for 30 minutes a day. But there's also there's also screen time notifications too that you can get on your phone too, and that can be a real eye opener for you when it says like, oh, you spend 4 hours a day on your phone. That's like, whoa. Right? How did I waste 4 hours of my day on my phone? So that's something that you can do to start becoming aware, because awareness is the first step, right? Awareness. And then if you are aware, maybe try a limit of an hour, try a limit of 2 hours, maybe, if that's what it is. It depends if you're using it for your business or not, because when I'm working with my business or working with my creative projects, I can't just draw on my iPad for an hour because I won't get anything done when I'm illustrating. But I'm like Nomza too, where my daughter has like a million things for crafts. She actually she's 10 and she just started a jewelry making business. And so like that's been the focus of what she's been doing is making jewelry and then selling it, and doing like a lemonade stand where she sells her jewelry. And it's so cute to watch, but it's also like, this is getting you away from the screen. And like we're on summer vacation in Canada right now, and like we've been spending like 4 hours a day or sometimes 2 to 4 hours a day at the skate park, because it gets her away from all of the screens and it gets her outside. She's getting exercise, and I'm like, I'm happy to sit at the skate park for 2 to 4 hours or however long you want, because it's giving you so like an experience other than just being at home and watching TV or playing on your iPad or whatever it is. And so many kids right now, I find that their parents are using technology as a babysitter or using technology as a way for their kids to just like leave them alone and not bother them. And I think kids are missing out on childhood because of that. They're missing out on the opportunities to just be outside and be playing and being, and it was hard with the pandemic, because the only way we were allowed to see our friends in some cases was through technology, through Kids Messenger for kids, or on FaceTime, or by phoning. And so now we have this precedent of being in front of the screens a lot more than we normally would before the pandemic. And if that's become your norm, how can you switch out of that? Because, and two, the norm probably for many families was they were working from home and their kids are learning school from home, and everybody needs to be on the computer. And then when parents are trying to catch up on work, they're like, just go watch your iPad and leave me alone so that I can get my work done. And so I think we need to switch out as the pandemic and things start to open up more. Like where I live in Alberta, everything's really open right now, which is fantastic. And so people, I think, need to start taking advantage of the openness of the world and getting outside and doing the things that keeps themselves and their kids away from their phone, and do more things with your family that makes you forget about your phone.
Absolutely, absolutely, get out. But it is about having face-to-face time with people so that you can, in person, you can talk. It's what develops speech, it develops language and conversation. And you don't, because it's so easy to get shut inside yourself. And but playing other games, box games or card games, and because there's an interaction with somebody else, and that's something that I do with my grandchildren and always do with my own children, but probably not as much as I could do, or that would, but it does happen, and they enjoy playing a card game, in a group of us, and they have fun, and there's box games that we play, and I know last year I did do quite a lot of box games with my grandchildren when we were in lockdown. We'd have quite a variety of them out, and they'd say, oh, we play this one or that one. They had their favourites, and I was going a bit, oh, not this one again, but okay, let's play it, a bit like that. That book that wants to be read over and over again. There was one game that they loved playing, and, but it was fun, and we enjoy it. And I think it's that laughter, it's that joy and fun that actually doesn't quite get there when you're on the screen, because it does drain your energy. So yeah, being able to get out a lot more, and being in the park, being out in nature, is certainly a bonus now. Interesting, isn't it? It's a bonus now. It never used to be a bonus, it was always there. So I think, yeah, maybe it's making us a bit more aware of what there is out there for us to do and be grateful for it. So let's bring in gratitude, because we have got these opportunities now to get out and about and meet up with people, do more things.
Yeah, I think we have to be grateful. It's not all that bad, though. I think it is. Sometimes it is when you have money, some people don't understand. When you have money, you don't just have to show your kids love by buying them gadgets. You don't have to. You don't have to, when you get the money, like on your children's birthdays or Christmas present, you don't have to buy. Just look at the school, what is needed for the school, and focus on that, because at the end of the day, whatever you do with those kids, when you are not there anymore, they will become that. So like my daughter, I had a thing where when she was growing up, her grandparents had the money just to buy her whatever she wanted, but I was very clear that basically, and them, they didn't mind. They will ask the things that she needs and the activities that she needs to do. So she spends time basically doing the activities. And I'm not that parent that, for me, if a child like music, acting, my daughter does acting, does music, drumming. What else does she do? She violin. So everything is done at school. Some activities are done at school. The only thing that we do, she started going to theater college for acting when she was 9, which is from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Saturdays all day, which is those are the activities. Her sister as well, she's got a place. She's 6, she's gonna go and she's gonna do that, but she's not gonna do all day. She's just gonna do 1 hour Saturdays until she's a little bit 8 or 9, and then do all day. So I basically did that for my daughter because I see children who are older, they spend time outside, hanging out, drinking. So I know that if my children, if she does her dance, it gives her a room, she a relationship with the dance teachers, because those they become her parents as well. The teachers, even at school, the teachers become your parents, and they play a very, very important part. So if I know that she's with them, she's with this, there's gonna be something that they're gonna suggest for her when she's bored. Do this, instead of me saying I have the money, go and buy the gadgets, give the computer. My daughter had her first computer at secondary school. She had her first phone secondary school because I knew that if she takes a bus, anything, the bus breaks down, she will need us to pick her up. So those were the reason. Otherwise, I'm not very strict. I didn't grow up like that. So I didn't grow up with gadgets. I don't see my children should grow up with gadgets. I grew up, I think I started watching TV when I was 16 or 17. That's when I met the TV. My daddy's house, we didn't have TV, not because we couldn't afford it. We were too busy. I was spending time outside looking at the cows in the farm, checking the cows, the donkeys, the goats, spending time with the animals. I was spending time with my music, doing things outside or playing with the children, getting muddy, walking, getting muddy, basically in the woods, basically playing. I didn't have time to watch TV because but the children that did that watching TV, there are some things that you gain out of the TV. It's not all negative, but for me, it was the lifestyle that our parents introduced to us. Even with my mom, although they had TV, children didn't spend in the house. I wondered why they had TV. Children who spend outside. Basically, they held we had a child minder in the house. I don't know how they call it in the UK. So looking after the children, but I was there as their sister. I basically make sure they eat. When they come from school, they eat. They have a nap for 1 hour. My siblings hate me for this. They have a nap for 1 hour, and then outside, no TV. They just go outside and play outside, not in the house. When they come in the house is when my mom and my dad comes in the house. But I'll stay outside with them as well, making sure that they are not watching all this TV and stuff. But did it work? Yes, it did, because they all studied, they all finished school, and they are doing their own things. But sometimes the choices that we make in life, they define us. Some people get creative by watching TV, the TV programs. They watch the TV programs and then they'll go online and do some research, getting creative. So the TV is not all that bad. There are some good things that people can learn out of it. It's just the children who are clever, they watch the TV and they say, oh, I've seen somebody doing this on TV. I'm going to learn how to do it. They just go on Google, like Amanda was saying, and they learn it. Over to you, Carol Ann or Amanda.
Go on, Amanda.
Well, I think that there's like so many different ways that we can look at that we can utilize technology in really powerful ways, and the real justification for what you're doing on it I think the first step that we need to take is to be conscious and to start becoming conscious of what it is that we're doing on our phones, on our computers, in front of the TV, and how much time are we spending doing things that we actually truly enjoy? Like, are you spending hours on your phone every day, or are you spending a few hours that are equal amount of time, even going for walks or going for rollerblades or painting or playing the piano, or how much time are you spending doing those other things that you actually enjoy, and are they comparable? Because that's really interesting thing to look at is people say, oh, I want to be really good at the piano. Well, like, the only way to get good is to practice. And if you feel like you don't have any time, look at how much time you're spending. Look at the screen time app on your phone and say, ooh, okay, I'm spending 2 hours on my phone a day. There's definitely time that I have that I could be learning the piano, or I could be painting, or I could be drawing, or I could be making bracelets, or I could be doing a woodworking project, or if you're talented with other things like that, then there's so many different things that you can be creative with. But even if you are creative on the computer, maybe it's you're good at coding, and that's what your passion is, and that's totally fine as well. It just is, what is it that you're using that time for, and are you doing it with something that you actually truly enjoy? Because we only have so much time on this planet, and we don't know how much time that is. And if you're spending so much of your day on technology, are you using it in a way that you actually enjoy, or are you just mindlessly scrolling because you're addicted to your screen? And I think that's something that we really need to become more aware of.
And I'm sort of aware of that maybe there are parents out there that maybe don't have the opportunity for the children to go out to play or to learn things like, you know, piano or other things, but and to them that seems to be the only option, is to give them the phone, or it's, you know, go onto a screen. Well, maybe just the way to know whether it has become an addiction is if you take it away from the child and they just scream for it back again, you know, or they can't find something else to do. And there are other things that you can do, even if you can't get out or you can't send them out to play. And it is becoming aware, it's to say, well, okay, so what could I do? And maybe it's having more conversation with your child about the phone, about playing games and what the games are that they're wanting to look at, and actually about discovering, well, how are you feeling when I take this away from you? You know, talk about it. So you're then starting to bring in discussion about feelings and emotions and how can you deal with it, you know, and deal with those feelings and emotions. And so it is bringing in conversation. You know, there are things that you can do. And so don't get hooked up on, because I'm conscious of that. There might be things that we're talking about here today that there are people out there, and some of, you know, your listeners may be going, well, that doesn't apply to me. I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have this opportunity. Well, just stop thinking about, well, I can't. And just think, what could I do? What can I do? You know? Because that's what's important. And recognize when things have become an addiction. And is there much conversation going on? Is there a lot of emotional turmoil, or is there a lot of low anxiety, depression, or whatever? Start conversations, writing things down, you know, just exploring words, getting out a dictionary, or even you can Google words, you know, sadness. I'm feeling sad. Okay, so what are other words like that? If you don't actually have a dictionary, a book, yes, you can Google words and use it in that way, and get them to write it out and explore, and then write a sentence about how they're feeling, how you're feeling. Bring in, or even paint it, draw it, you know, and bring in creativity. But do it, you know, say to yourself, well, what can I do right now? And am I aware of this addiction? Because if you're not careful, it does take over your life. And I know out of this conversation, it's something that I'm seriously looking for myself, what I'm going to do about. See, about the time I do go to my phone, I'm so become a conscious, God, I go and pick it up and I look at it. Oh, I've got to go and pick it up. There's this pull all the time. So and if you're not sure, then get in touch with one of us on here, have a conversation, so I think I've said you know a lot, and maybe you don't know, so I apologize for all the you knows. And if you don't know, time to know, time to get to know, and explore it a bit further and just go, well, how could I know? How can I get to know? Who can I talk to? Who can I get in touch with? So I think that's what I'd like to leave people with, is that question, get to notice if it's become an addiction. Get to notice, what are you saying? Well, I can't do this and I can't do that. It's all very well you suggesting this or that. Stop and say, what can I do? Because there's always something that you can do. And I know it's always something that I've said to my grandchildren when they go, oh, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. And I'm going, well, what could you do? And I'll throw out suggestions and they go, no, I don't want to do that, don't want to do that. And I say, well, just think about it. What could you do? And if you did know what you wanted to do, what might that be? And I just leave it at that. And all of a sudden, find themselves doing something quite creative, So, yeah.
There's a book that I always like to use in my classroom, and it's called If You Give a Mouse an iPhone. And it's a really thought-provoking book, and I read it to the kids, and then I get them to discuss, like, what do you think the author's message of this book is? And then two, how does this apply to your own life? And how does that make you connect to what's going on in your own life? And basically, you give the mouse the iPhone to stop bugging you while you're making and your lunch, and then you're taking him on this really great adventure, but he misses the entire thing because he's through the entire book. And it's such a good book to just get kids to really think about their use of technology. And I also wrote an article a while ago, and it's called Do More Things to Make You Forget Your Phone, through Brainsy magazine. It's also on my website as well. So if you're trying to find things to either engage your kids or even to invoke your own thinking process, those are two resources that you could go out and grab just to help you on this journey of, am I really using my phone too much?
Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah, or the other thing, you can actually look at the hours, how many hours you sleep. If you sleep like 6 hours or 8 hours per day, you calculate that per week. We have 168 hours per week, and then you calculate the hours of your sleep, the hours of your work, how many hours do you work, and then how many hours do you spend on your screen. You keep calculating, and then you'll be able to actually see how much time you spend on the screen, how much time you spend on social media, how much time you spend on, like, if you have a business, how much time you spend on developing your business. So in that way, it will be able to help you. I think that's what I'm gonna leave you guys with, that if you really, really want to improve your cut down on your screen and cut down on social media and stuff, like myself, basically it's something that I had to discipline myself, that I'm not gonna waste time on social media. For the whole social media, Instagram,
You've gone quiet, Nomsa.
okay, I spend a half an hour. I muted myself. So I spend a half an hour every single day for everything. I post, I like, I'm out. So, and you have to calculate those hours. Use 168. Calculate everything that you do, how much you spend time with your children. You may find that you don't spend time with the kids as well. So just calculate it. How much time do you spend with your spouse as well? And you'll be able to work out and solve all the problems, the mystery about all this. So any words of encouragement, Carol Ann?
Encouragement. Yeah, just wake up and become aware. I think that's the main thing. And actually, I'd say what I always say: there's nothing wrong. Don't make it wrong. And I know that by saying that, you're going to make it wrong. So just think, there is nothing wrong, and become aware. The most important thing is you become aware of it, and then what can you do about it? And it's then doing something about it. So yeah, become aware and know you can change things around. You don't have to, you don't have to stay stuck in it. You can change your life. Sorry, go on, Amanda.
And mine would be, are you a passive consumer or a content creator? And how do you feel about that? And we have this powerful tool at our fingertips that we have the power to utilize in so many different ways, yet be conscious of what it is that you're using it for, and how you're using it, and how it's affecting your other relationships in your life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think Caroline has a point as well, that don't make it wrong. There are some people that they feel guilty. When you're watching videos like this, you start saying, I feel guilty for watching this much or going on social media. Just say, okay, I'm gonna do this. I can do this. I can change the times, that the screening times. I can do this without feeling guilty, without blaming yourself, because making a mistake is the part of life. We learn from it and we move on from it. We get creative and we teach others. So that's what life is about. So at Ngozi Talk Show, we are here Monday to Friday, UK time, 1 p.m. Please, if you're watching this video later, press some love button, a heart button, and share it with your friends and family. And God bless you. Live with grace, everyone.